Hi, it's Kwesi Millington here, speaker and coach, and today I'm talking again about how to MC a wedding or event. I'll put my first video about this topic in a link below, but today is about 5 stories to know when you're MCing a wedding or an event. The first type of story is the couple's story or the chair story. If you're hosting a wedding, know your couple's backstory. Know how they met, know something about their journey. You may be hired to MC the wedding, but not know the couple themselves. Get to know them, ask some questions, and get to know them so that you can share a little bit about them when you're MCing. If it's just an event and someone brought you in, the chair of the event, know something about them that you have permission to share so that you know a little bit about their backstory. You're not just some stranger that came in. People will look at you and say, listen, this person, this host that I've never met before actually took time to know the person that I know. And there's that level of connection there. Now you're a friend because you know the person that brought you in, or you know the couple who's the star of the event. The next story you want to share is your crowd stories. Now, this is important. Get permission before you share, but if you hear something intriguing when you get there early and you're socializing with the crowd, get permission to share the story that is intriguing or a little funny story that you've heard in the crowd. And what that does is that makes your content current. It shows that you didn't just prepare everything beforehand and you're just a robot delivering. You're actually incorporating things you just learned. Hey, when I was talking to so-and-so before, he or she said this. And it makes it more light and conversational as you're hosting. The next type of story is your common stories. Are there stories that are in popular media? Is something happening in current events that you can share? If there's something going on in the news that you can share, it once again makes your content relevant and current, and it allows you to connect to your audience and make them feel like, yeah, this host actually cares about what's going on right now. They're current, they're hip, they know what's going on, and it feels more relatable to them because it's something that they're currently experiencing. The next type of story is your chuckle story. So think of just some humorous anecdotes that you can share along the way, not simple jokes that everyone's heard before, but some light stories that you can fill in the gaps. Always have stories in your back pocket because you may be there for a while, you may be asked to speak longer or more than you think you may have to, and it's always good to have a couple of light stories that you can insert so that you don't have that dead air time when you have nothing to say. Have some back pocket stories, and it's always good if you make people laugh. So have a couple of chuckle stories in your pocket. And finally, have some what I call comparison Chronicle stories. So whatever it is that the crowd's experiencing, whether it's a wedding, you can talk about some other wedding that you've hosted. If it's an event, whatever that event is, whatever they've gone through, have some stories in your back pocket again that show that you've gone through something similar to what they've gone through. So if it's an event that you're hosting and it's about a certain topic like leadership, you can talk about another leadership experience you've had. Or if it's a wedding story, another wedding story that you had. Have comparison Chronicle stories that you have once again in your back pocket so that you can bring them up and show that you've gone through already what they're going through and that you can relate to them because you've officiated weddings before, you've hosted events before, and this is what has happened in the past. What that also does is that helps you with future business. It shows, hey, you've done this before, and maybe you're available to be hired again for another event or asked to host another event. So remember these 5 C stories the next time you're asked to host a wedding or event. Your couple chair stories, your crowd stories, your common stories, your chuckle stories, and your comparison Chronicle stories. If you have those in your pocket, you can host for an hour, 2 hours, you can host all day because you will have those weapons, if you will, in your back pocket that you can bring out and relate to your crowd, and you will never have that dead air. If this was helpful to you, then share this with those you know hosting an event. Like this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel below.